and Brother Muhammad, he got all the police officers, even the chief of the police, and a lot of Muslims came and see what the police doing, and that's great things. And then I told Brother Muhammad, we have to speak about a very important topic, and that topic is a lot, unfortunately, of course, very sad. I deal with this here and different states. The female become male and the male become females, and together we have 7 colors. So the key, we want to save our kids from this kind of corruption. A lot of corruption, we know that, brother and sister. We know that. So I told Brother Muhammad, we need a solution for our kids when you go to school, especially public school. And unfortunately, I heard also Islamic school. But now we took the majority of our kids in public school. A public school, of course, we know is public schools. And I advise you, brother and sister, Islamic school is better for everyone. But now, how to deal with this problem? Number one. Number two, how to solve this problem if our kids follow this. Third question, a lot of our kids, they are not among those colors, but they're supporting them. So they are free. I know they are free. We are a free country. But how to save our kids? We're not going to speak halal haram. My job is halal haram. But Brother Muhammad here can teach us what is right and wrong psychology. Brother Muhammad, we discussed it yesterday. Jazakallah khair. Please, it's a very important topic, especially in public schools.
Well, there's a lot of important topics that we got to bring up in general, because of the fact that we're raising our Muslim kids in a non-Muslim environment, right? So when you're talking about raising our children, if you notice the generations, right? There's a big generational gap between your generation, my generation. And I always consider like the 25-year-olds and under, or 30-year-olds and under, a whole nother generation. Well, first of all, let me kind of set this straight. Yesterday, we had this event, and I had all I did was bring as many Muslims as I can to come to this event to show the law enforcement officers that we support them, right? I try to always build a bridge between law enforcement and the Muslim community.
Listen carefully. Because hold on, repeat it again. And that's very, very important this time. What are you doing?
So I'm always trying to build a strong relationship, a strong bond between the law enforcement and the Muslim community, right? Because I always think that we have animosity towards law enforcement officers, and the fact that we always think that they're watching us, or they always think we're doing something bad, or we're all terrorists, or so the only way you can really break that cycle is actually going in there and meeting with them. And so my ultimate goal, and I know I'm in a small town, a small city, but worldwide, national at least, that we Muslims can go up to a law enforcement officer and shake their hand and talk to them, and just kind of, because they're humans, they're regular people. And a lot of them do watch the news, and they do have social media, so they do get brainwashed, and they do think they see the stuff that they see, and they only have one way of thinking until they finally meet a Muslim in person, and they say, wow, you are not anything like I thought you guys would be. And we all know how did Islam, spread so quickly throughout the world, right? It wasn't us going and knocking on doors and saying, you have to be a Muslim. It wasn't us with a sword saying we have to be a Muslim. It was through our character.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you can speak better than that than I can. How did Islam spread the most?
Da'wah.
Through da'wah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Showing
With the peace.
Yeah. Showing love and what Islam is all about, and peace, because we always say salam is peace. So that's what yesterday was all about.
And plus, a lot of people, male and females and kids actually, plus the board, masjid boards. My masjid board is very important to make the imams, the board involved with this is very, very, very important, especially now.
Yeah, especially now, because at the end of the day, with all the protesting and all the the temperature that we have right now against us and for us at the same time, I want our kids, our youth, to be able to when they have a problem to go to a law enforcement officer. Hey, listen, this guy's saying this and this guy, because believe it or not, there's laws, right? We have laws
Yes.
and they protect us,
Yes, agree.
right?
No, very important, brother and sister. A lot of social media and people speaking about the Islam. When you go to the police and the police know us, the police will know us in America. I'm talking about not. I know we have all over the world, but I'm talking about America. The other country, I don't know.
Yeah.
But in America, we have the police have to know us face to face, our deen, our religion, what we believe. And alhamdulillah, Brother Muhammad, and not only that, the chief told him there is no Muslims, there is no more.
Yeah, because see, at the end of the day, I tell, like, I know I'm a Muslim, my name's Muhammad, I can't hide it,
Yes.
right? So it's not like I can go around talking about Islam. And I always tell the Muslims when they come to these events, when they come to meet with law enforcement officers, don't go with the Quran and say, hey, let me talk to you about our religion. No. If they talk to you, if they ask you a question, then you answer.
Yes. Done.
That's it.
Especially now.
Especially now.
Yes.
You don't afford, and alhamdulillah, nobody can ever tell me, and nobody's ever told me in all the years I've been doing this, that I had a bad time with a Muslim.
That's free also.
And it's all free.
The food and ice cream.
Yeah, face painting, all this kind of stuff.
I did that myself. Well,
You did face painting?
yes.
MashaAllah.
The Palestinian flag and my daughter there.
MashaAllah. But that's one of the things I wanted to kind of just stress out before we get into this other topic, because everything kind of correlates together, right? I know he always tries to he always brings up the LGBT stuff and everything.
Yeah. This one. I got this here, Palestine and my daughter here, and I love you. بحبك.
I mean, look, again, it's strengthening bonds, right?
Yes.
That's kind of what I try to do in regards to my position and what I try to do as a Muslim.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Da'wah as much as possible, peace, love, explain to them that we're not what they see on TV, because that's what they do. They see what's on TV, they hear the news, and we all know that the news is always one-sided towards one way, and they all say different things, and they call these people some names, and then they all lump us into one category, and we know how it is. So I'm trying to educate out there, and we're trying to educate us as well, because we should not be afraid of law enforcement.
Alhamdulillah. It was excellent meeting. Alhamdulillah. Now let's go to our topic.
The other thing he's talking about, I think the biggest thing that we have, and I get what he's saying, because there is a big push of a certain agenda out there. There's a push of a lot of agendas out there, not just that. And I know that's what scares a lot of people the most. But the agenda that they're really trying to push is to develop confusion and weakness within our youth. So
hold on, please give me attention again. Weakness.
Yeah. And what it is if you really study psychology and study the age groups, right, between the ages of 0 and 3, there are certain characteristics of a child. Hey, I'm going to cry, feed me. Then there's from 3 to 6, teach me what I'm supposed to do, right? As parents, we teach our kids how to walk, how to run, how to throw a basketball, how to do all these things. Then from 6 to 12, we're teaching our kids math, reading, science. There's a certain age group categories of everything. So they know how to and what age groups to kind of to be able to, okay, this is the age group right here that they're going to be the most vulnerable, the most weakest, the best time to confuse somebody is at this certain age group, right? And and when I do these classes, when I talk to certain people, when I talk to families, I always tell them, like, at this age, a certain age, between the ages of, like, I want to say between 10 and about 17, when you get that age group going on, that's when you as a parent want to really grab on to that kid and push whatever agenda you want as your child. You want to teach them Islam, you want to teach them how to be a good Muslim, you want to teach them how to be a strong character. Because if you look at the kids now, and I'm talking about 25, 30, 35, they, mashallah, work out, they exercise, they go to the gym, and they lift these weights, and they're so strong physically, but inside they're very weak.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I go to the gym every day, and I see huge, and when they're afraid.
They jump.
Yes.
They jump.
I see that, my dear brothers and sisters. So, and unfortunately, our kids, the brother, are very important. The weakness, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is one of the signs of the day of judgment. We love dunya, but we're afraid of afraid of death.
Yeah.
Afraid of death. But death gonna happen anyone, any moment, any doesn't matter.
Mhm.
I was dying, brother and sister, in Singapore, but I'm alive, alhamdulillah. It's everything in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, brother,
So how do you fix this?
yes,
How do you fix
give me attention now.
how do you fix the weakness that our kids are having? And it's tough because every kid's different, right? There's no such thing as one size fits all.
Yes,
And we're not hats, right? You can change the hat size and put your hat on. It doesn't work that way. Every kid is different, and especially if you're a grandparent raising a kid. Oh, I mean, right now these days, I don't know if there's anybody in the audience that is going through this, and inshallah, may Allah bless you guys for doing what you're doing, because it's tough to be a grandparent and raising a grandkid. We used to do a lot of things with grandparents, educating the grandparents, getting them accustomed to the internet, showing them. I used to teach them all how to look at YouTube, how to put their credit cards on automatic bill pay. You don't have to write a check anymore because that's what they know. So raising a grandchild right now in this time, and I always say, alhamdulillah, that I'm not that young anymore. being raised right now, growing up right now in this time is such a hard time for our kids.
Agree.
Right? Back in my days and back in our days, our parents really never had to do too much, right? Because we had it, we were outside playing, we were getting dirty, we were getting sick, we were cutting ourselves, we were breaking elbows and breaking arms and breaking our fingers playing out there, but we'd get right back out and play. Now, oh my God, I stubbed my toe, I got to go to the doctor. I hurt my toe. I hurt my finger. Take me to the hospital. There's a weakness within our kids, and if you don't know, if you don't realize the age groups that you have right now, and you kind of just let society take over. Okay, the school's going to teach my kid. Okay, the masjid's going to raise my kids.
There's no way.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no way.
One thing that a lot of people, converts, or reverts, I should say, the reverts, when they talk to me, when I meet with these guys, mashallah, these guys, they take Islam really seriously. They love Islam.
And they practice it.
And they practice it. But the Muslims that are born Muslims, and it's awesome. It's really cool. They get this passion for Islam, and I'm looking at them like, dude, I was born this way. Like, how do you get this passion? And they say the one thing that they love about Islam is the brotherly, the ummah, the brotherly, the unitedness. And one thing I always stress for our own people, not just Palestinians. I don't care if you're Palestinian. I don't care if you're Lebanese. I don't care if you're from Somalia. I don't care about all that stuff, because we're at the end of the day, we're Muslims.
Indeed,
right?
indeed.
And so for me, I always tell people, like, we have to stick together and help each other. If we want our kids to succeed, we got to raise them as a community.
Yes.
Right. We got to help each other out. Right. We got to talk to each other. We got to say, hey, brother, I have a problem. My son is going through something. He's doing this and he's doing that. How can you help me? My son is smoking marijuana. My son is hanging out with friends who drink alcohol. I need some help with this. And I think what ends up happening is we're so afraid to let people know that we're going through a hard time.
Yes, I agree. I experienced that. I experienced with the people here in the community are afraid to, no, Sheikh Ibrahim,
don't tell such and such. Don't let this person know. Don't let that person know. And at the end of the day, it's like, we have to talk to each other, to know each other, to know what everybody's going through. And that's just about the bad stuff, right? And what amazes me is when I see Muslim brothers and sisters doing really well, and then you have the people behind them, instead of saying, oh, mashallah, alhamdulillah, I'm pretty happy for you, they envy you. They get the jealousy in you. And instead of saying and being, genuine with each other, we start hating on each other. And we love each other when we're going through something bad, but we hate each other when we're going through something good. And so if you really want to fix this problem of strengthening our kids, we have to sit down with our kids at that age group.
Yes.
At that age group, and explain to them, read the books to them, let them watch these YouTube videos, the Dawah channels, the Islamic videos, all that stuff that you kind of that I'm doing right now as in my age group, where I should have probably been doing it a long time ago. Yeah. That can really they talk their talk. They talk the way they talk.
But at the same time, Brother Muhammad, is very important for also have to listen to the kids.
And that's the other thing that I want to kind of get back onto is also don't do all the talking,
Yes.
all right? And don't,
It's very important here.
and one thing I will say is you're going to get more out of a kid when you're doing something with a kid, when their hands are moving. So let's say you're, playing a basketball game with a kid and you're talking, or you're, gardening, or you're picking flowers, or you're, doing some farm work, or you're whatever you're doing. You're doing something. You're not just sitting there on the couch just talking, or you're driving somewhere and you're driving with your kid and you're asking your kid, because how many times, and maybe parents can agree to this, and if you can agree to this, I don't know how you can see if these parents can agree, but how many times have you picking up your kid from school? How was school?
How is school? Yeah.
Oh, okay. What'd you do? Nothing. That's the kid,
Yes. Most. Yes.
right? I mean, that's most kids.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nothing. What'd you learn today? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, is that, what did you learn? Like, what did you, and we get frustrated with that conversation. And there's a thing called closed-ended questions and open-ended questions, right? Open-ended questions is what you want to have a dialogue with somebody. You don't say, hey, is the sky blue? Yes, that's a closed-ended question. You want to have a conversation with somebody, you ask open-ended questions. What did you do in school today? Not, how was your day? But if you say, how was your day? Either good or bad. We're going to say good. Oh, let's still talk to me. Well, what did you do in school today? What did you do in first period? What did you do in second period? What did you do in PE? And you ask these questions and have an open dialogue. And then they're going to get to the point where when they start coming into the car, when you pick them up, they're going to start saying, how was school today? What did you do in first period? And then boom, the answers will come super fast because they're already ready for it. They're used to it.
Yes.
Right? And it becomes a repetition. And then what happens when it becomes repetition? It becomes a routine and it becomes normalized. And that's what they're doing now to our younger kids, is they're trying to normalize all the bad stuff. So you as a parent, you have to normalize the good stuff, but you're not going to know how to normalize anything if you're expecting the school to raise your kid, the message to raise your kid. It's not, your kid, my kid's on the phone, he's watching YouTube videos, and that's it. No, well, talk to him. Ask, what did you watch on YouTube today? What did you learn from that Dawah channel? That guy, whatever imam or whatever sheikh you're listening to, what did you learn? Teach me. And I think one of the biggest things that we're lacking, because we're always rushing and trying to make money and we're trying to hustle, is we don't have dinner anymore, except for Ramadan. MashaAllah, we always find a way to make sure we have time for dinner during Ramadan. We all get together and we have our dinners. And for 1 month, inshallah, a lot of the families have dinners together.
Yeah.
We're supposed to do that on a daily basis.
Indeed. Yes.
And that's when you're having a conversation, when you're eating, when you're and you're laughing and you're making fun of each other and you're joking with each other and that's when you're gonna get the good information.
Yes, I agree with you.
And I know it's hard. I mean, trust me, I know it's tough. I work a full-time job. We have a business. We go into basketball. We're going to soccer. We're doing so many things. We're trying to rush. But you gotta end up taking the time to kind of slow down the shway and talk.
Brother Muhammad, sometimes they mention Arabic words, Palestinian slang. شوي زلمة does mean man.
I apologize.
Means شوية, a little bit.
I apologize. Yes, you're right.
But brother and sister, is very, very important topic. We have to have a friendship with my kids. Not I am the father, I'm the mom. That's it. No, and the kids want to listen, communicate, and when they have a problem in the school, join the problem with them.
Well, let me stop you, because when you say friendship with your kids, there's a limit
Indeed.
to your friendship with your
Indeed.
kids. And when they hit a certain age, I can say, okay, yes, at that point and their age 20, 25, 30, that's it.
No.
You've already taught them everything.
Yeah.
Their personalities are set. And what gets me is, if you read the psychology and if you read the books that they teach you in school, they teach you that after 15 or 16, that's it. Their personality is set. You're not going to be able to change anybody. That is the biggest lie
absolutely.
in the world.
Yeah.
Biggest lie in the world. And what ends up happening is these kids think like that. They hear it.
Become like this.
And then they say, oh, well, Muhammad, I'm already 20. So what am I going to do? I can't change my ways. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. It doesn't matter about the age.
The one good thing about, and not just Muslims, but the one thing about humans in general is we adapt and we change. That's why we're the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
Right? We adapt and we change. And when we can do that at will, whenever you want to. Okay, so let's say, I don't know how many people here drink coffee with sugar in it.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
And sugar is one of the biggest drugs out there. Sugar and
Yeah.
caffeine are I know caffeine is the number one drug right now, and on all
No.
oh, yeah. What do you think?
Caffeine?
Yeah.
Caffeine is healthy, man.
Please don't take drugs advice from this guy. Caffeine's not healthy. It's an addiction. Caffeine's a drug.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not addicted. But anyway,
We're gonna have a session right here in front of everybody.
okay.
But I will say,
Mm.
imagine trying to be a person, because this is me. This is exactly with me. For years and years and years, having coffee with my sugar.
Me too. I used to. That's
Yeah.
why I have a new liver.
Yes, exactly. Because caffeine's so healthy and sugar's so healthy. But so in order for me to want to change, I actually use Ramadan. Ramadan was my way of
Absolutely.
okay, this is gonna be my 30 days, because in psychology and therapy, it takes 30 days to stop a habit.
Allah.
About 28 to 30 days. It takes about 28 to 30 days to stop a habit. It takes another 2 months to develop a new habit. And then it takes another 4 to 5 months to make it into a new thing, like a new routine.
Yeah, we have to
Right.
prepare ourselves. I love this idea.
So I used that. And that was 4 years ago, I believe. It was 4 or 5 years ago where I stopped having sugar in my coffee during Ramadan. And the first week was terrible. Was awful, the headaches,
Yeah, I stopped. Me too.
and
I love the coffee.
but then your body adapted.
Yeah,
That's not the
train yourself.
Yeah, you have to train yourself. The same thing applies for developing inner strength.
Excellent point.
Yes. When you talk about inner strength, it's not going to happen overnight.
No way.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Step by step.
That's something that takes time
You have to train
build,
yourself.
right? To build yourself. And so I talk with the kids about bullying. I'll give you an example about bullying. When kids get made fun of, right? And the kids that get made fun of, they want to cut themselves, or they want to kill themselves, or they want to do something to harm themselves because of the anxiety, of the depression. And the way I explain it to the kids is, we can't arrest everybody who bullies people. That's not going to work. Let's work on what they're bullying you about.
I like this.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say one of the kids I was working with, they keep calling me fat. Okay. Well, do you think you're fat? Well, yeah. So, well, what can you do about you being fat? All right. Well, I can, stop eating junk food at night. Does your mom ever tell you to stop eating junk food at night? Well, yeah, every day she tells me that. But see, they're not realizing.
Yeah.
Until they hear it coming out of their own mouths.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, my mom does tell me that every night to stop eating every night junk food. Well, then why haven't you stopped? Well, because I like this and I like that. Well, tell my mom to stop, buying junk food. Or,
I love that.
And that's the conversation I have with these kids. These 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds, even 16-year-olds. Where my mom goes to Sam's Club and grabs everything from the junk food aisle. Okay, I get it, but you have to learn how to constrain yourself, how to hold yourself back from eating those chips and eating those things. And let's work on a program together. You and me, and I tell the little kids, let's work on after 7 o'clock at night. Don't eat anymore. And now that focus is off of the bullying and on themselves. Take responsibility for yourself. Right? You can blame everybody and anybody. And I always use myself as an example. I have a big nose. They call me Big Nose, Toucan Sam growing up. They call me all these names. What am I going to do about it? Right?
Allah created me like this.
Allah created me, and Allah did what He did. So I decided, let me go to the gym, let me exercise, let me work out, let me compensate, let me fix myself up, and then nobody can make fun of me anymore. And I tell the kids the same thing. If you're okay with you being fat, be fat.
Wow. Yeah.
But if it bothers you that you're fat and you want to be something else, and so what ends up happening is slowly but surely they start developing different habits, right? They change their way they're thinking. They're hearing themselves say what they want to say, what their parents tell them. They're hearing themselves say these things, and they start to realize how dumb they have been or how ignorant they have been to everything in the last couple of months. That's why I'm getting bullied. Okay, now I understand, Mr. Muhammad. Okay, so, and it's a kind of, let me tell you, I've seen kids that I've worked with 3-4 years ago who are going to college now, and they still tell me, Brother Muhammad, I still remember that lecture that you did in the masjid about this and about that. I'm like, I don't remember what I did. That was like years ago. I still remember when you came into the class and you said da 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 da. And so the way you speak to the kids the way you interact with the kids, the genuinity, right? You have to be genuine. You have to be real, right? I always see people who try to fake being young, right? And I see some of these imams, the elderly imams, will try to do the slang talking and try to, try to be young with the kids. And I laugh because I said, if I can tell, I'm an old guy. If I can tell that that's not who you really are, you don't think the kids know?
They know.
They know. The kids know more than we do, and they can feel it.
Yeah.
Right. They feel the the genuinity from you.
Yeah.
If that person's real, if that person really cares. It's kind of, and that's how you kind of build character.
Yeah.
Right. You put it on them. What do you want to happen with your kids? At that age group, between 5, 10, 12, 17, 18, we can't stop what's going on around us.
No.
We can't.
No.
We can't stop the laws from passing. We can't stop the schools from teaching. We can't. We can yell and scream and go to certain board meetings. And I know that I saw some stuff on my WhatsApp that they want us to go to these board meetings about certain issues. And you can, as a parent, you have the right to go to these board meetings and say, "Hey, I don't want my kid learning these things," or "I don't want my kid being in these classes. We should sign waivers." Do whatever you got to do. But at the end of the day, we live in a country, we live in a society that is not an Islamic society. So we as Muslims have to kind of gravitate ourselves towards each other, right? And kind of talk to each other and let each other know what's going on. How did you do that with your kid? How did you do that with your kid? How did you teach your kid to do this? How did your kid, and your kid's at the same age as my kid, how come your kid's doing it this way? How do I get my kids to do what your kid's doing? Right? Talk to each other and help each other and grow your circles. Right? We see other people doing it all the time. Other faiths, other religions, who they keep everything to themselves. They take care of their own.
Sometimes, Brother Muhammad, sometimes the teacher, they have this kind of colors. The male become the teacher, encourage the kids. How do they, as a parents now, we're doing a lot of parents here, how the parents how to face excellent teacher, but gender different.
Yeah, and again,
How to deal with
and this is the thing, you can't, like I said, we live in a country that we don't have control over.
Exactly.
We and in not just in a non-Muslim country, even in Muslim countries, they do bad stuff. They do the same things, right? I mean, you go to these Middle Eastern countries and they're doing it all the same, everywhere. I mean, you're not going to be able to run away from it. So what I tell the parents all the time is you got to develop a strong character within your kid to be able to respond back in the right way without disrespecting. Hey, look, I'm a Muslim. We don't play that game. I'm here to learn science. Teach me science.
But legally, you can go to teacher, my son, so and so and so, I am a Muslim.
Legally, there's nothing really. I don't know too much about that aspect of the laws. Every state is different. It's weird how every state has different laws, different rules.
Become like a crime, brother.
And I know. And that's why I tell the parents, you can't run away from it. But what we can do is educate our kids and teach them how to be strong enough inside here to know. Because listen, I work. We all work. Everybody's office who works in an office, or everybody who works in a nonprofit, or everybody who works in law enforcement. Everywhere you go, you're going to have these problems. You're going to have these issues. So I can't run away from it. You can't run away from it. So how do we deal with it? Right? So develop that inner strength of that kid to know, listen, if you don't know how to answer the questions, if you don't know how to speak, don't speak. I think we talked last time about these. I think we spoke last time a while back about these guys are making da'was and how they do the da'wa channels and the social media influencer da'wa guys who are going out there trying to represent Islam, but they're like not doing it the right way, or they're doing it in the wrong way. There's a lot of guys out there. So I always say, like, if you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to present Islam in the right way, don't go out there and making videos and trying to, because there are reverts who watch these videos who think that that's the way to do things, and they belittle each other, or they belittle the person that they're talking to, or your religion is terrible because this, and that's not how you do da'wah. And you're yelling or you're screaming. I always say, brothers, back up.
Yeah.
There's other people out there that can speak better, that know how to present Islam in a better way. And for me, if I'm not knowledgeable, I don't speak. I don't know. I don't speak. It's easier.
That's scary.
It's scary. It's easier. But saying something that's wrong is even worse.
Agree.
And saying something wrong and the wrong way is a lot worse.
Well, yeah.
And then that one person who met you, who met a Muslim for the first time, now has a bad taste in their mouth about the Muslims.
Exactly.
So when we talk about how to deal with stuff in schools, how to deal with stuff in colleges, because it's in college campuses, it's everywhere. If you don't have the strength inside of you, you're gonna fall victim to all that stuff. I'm not just talking about the flags and the man and the woman. I'm talking about the drugs. I'm talking about the gambling. I'm talking about just an array of all the haram stuff, because this society is geared on making sure that anybody, not just Muslims, stays away from any religion.
Yes.
It's not just
I know some people. Yes.
yeah, it's Christianity, it's Judaism, any religion that you can think of, the major religions. This society is geared on making you pull you away from that and worship this instead. Worship the money, worship the social media,
It's
worship,
scary, yeah.
and that's kind of what they're doing right now. So just plant that seed in your kids at an early age to let them really know and appreciate. Because when we talk about Islam, I talk about Islam to the people who ask me questions. I'm smiling. I'm excited because these people want to learn.
Of course,
They
yeah.
want to learn. They want to. Why do you fast? Oh my God, you don't understand. I lost this much weight and I felt better. And this, really? Well, that's not why I do it. Because we do it because God told us to do it. And then you explain to them, yeah, God told us to do it, but He didn't tell us the benefits of it. He just told us to do it. And now we start to see what the benefits are to why.
Scientifically.
Yeah, scientifically, it's all catching up to the Quran.
Indeed, yes.
Everything catches up to the Quran.
SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. Everything in the Quran. Yes. You're right with that.
SubhanAllah.
So now, really, with the school, by the way, a lot, as you know, the curriculum actually now, the teachers supporting that. And some of the schools now, especially California, where we are supporting that. But how gonna save my son now, my daughter, from this kind of corruption?
I can't, because I can't tell everybody put your kids in Islamic school, because I know sometimes it's not feasible.
No.
It's too expensive.
Consider there's no Islamic
Yeah.
school. Consider no Islamic schools. For the majority of our kids, non-Muslim.
Yeah.
What exactly? How to deal with this kind of problem?
Again, it goes back to it all goes back to talking to our kids, right?
Okay.
Speaking to our kids about this is what you're going to see in school. You're going to see A, B, and C. If you see A, B, and C, if you see or you hear these certain things, come and talk to me about it.
Oh,
Right. Let me know when you see this stuff. Let me know when you hear about this stuff. All right. And understand something. Kids are not going to talk to you if you're ready to whip them, if you're ready to hit them, if you're ready to yell back.
No
at them.
question.
If
Yeah.
you're like, I can't believe you said that. Well, no, you told him to come and tell you.
exactly. Yeah. How to
These
trust.
And
Yeah.
so, and I do. I sit with kids, with parents, and the kids will say, well, they told me to tell them. And when I tell them, they get mad at me. They yell at me.
It's parents is very important here. Very important.
So once you yell at the kid the first time, they learn their lesson. I'm not going to say anything.
They will say somebody.
They'll ask their friends,
Yeah, exactly.
or they'll Google it. Right. And
So-
people don't realize that you can pay Google to put your stuff up on top. You can pay Google if you want to have a business, or if you want people to learn something and they Google search something, they can put it on the top. Because us people, humans, we don't want to click down to the real stuff or look down and scroll through and find the real research or find the real stuff. We want to click the first 3 or 4 things that we see and get our answers quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what the kids are going to start doing. They're going to start going on you were saying Rumble and Twitch and X and all these things. And there's going to be, mashallah, so many people now that are experts at everything.
Yeah.
Expert imams.
Yeah. Alone, trust me.
Expert hadith artists. Expert, and they always say, I'm a student of knowledge, but I'm an expert. I'm a student of knowledge, but I'm an expert.
Yeah. Believe me, we face this.
We face this all the time. And so you're going to see people that say, listen, it's okay to be, love is love. That's the answer. Love is love. And, I tell these people that's not true. You can't, there's a certain limit, right? Islam puts a limit on things in our life, and there's a reason for that.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And somebody asked me, well, how come the Quran doesn't tell one of the kids? Well, how come the Quran doesn't give us the reasons why we fast?
Yeah.
Right? And I said, and I explained it to them. And I got this from one of the Dawah guys. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the reasons for everything in the Quran, you would have one of the biggest books in the world.
But hold on, we have Quran,
And you have
who explained the Quran?
exactly.
The Bukhari,
Yeah,
and Muslim,
of course.
the Hadith.
Yeah, hadith. But they, in their heads, they're thinking Quran.
Yeah.
So you talk to their level, right? I can say Bukhari,
Yeah.
but they're not going to get all that.
Agree.
You know,
Yeah.
so you say on their level, you say, listen, man, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put all the reasons into one book,
Yeah.
it would be the biggest book in the world. You think anybody's going to want to read that big of a book?
No, impossible. You have to speak.
And this is 1,400 years ago. Imagine now. You think our kids can read a book like this size?
Oh, no.
This size. Our kids don't want to read these books, and it's not.
This is the best book of
That's the best book. Alhamdulillah.
But
But see, but the way you have to understand is, our kids right now, their attention span is very
yeah.
short, right? They're very, very short. If you look at the games they play, the video games they play, everything's fast.
Yes.
Fast.
Right.
I even watch my son play and I get dizzy from watching him play because the screen is moving so fast. I said, bro, calm down. Well, you have to play fast. You have to play fast. Because their attention spans are very
I
short.
see that a lot.
So when you sit down and talk to a kid, don't sit down for an hour. Don't sit down for 30 minutes. That's why I say when you're playing with your kid and you're, playing video games with your child, or you're walking around the mall, or you're taking a drive with your kid, and you're confined to a space in the car for 20 minutes or for 15 minutes, wherever you're driving. That's when you want to have like a small little conversation.
Exactly.
The small ones.
Yeah. Perfect.
Small little times. And subhanAllah, we were just talking at the basketball courts with another Muslim brother. And I explained to him, I said, it's funny. You take your kids to Disney World, they don't remember anything. But you sit there with your kid and you ride a bike with him, or you ride an electric scooter around the block a couple of times. They remember.
Forever, yes.
I fell down and my son still laughs about it. And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
But ask him about Disney World. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's fun. And that's it. It's fun.
But that's the thing, the attention span. Talking to the kids at their level, making it quick, short, concise, and fun.
Yes.
Because think about it from school. Can anybody learn when you're in a bad mood? When you're feeling angry or you're feeling upset? Can you learn? No. The majority of the time you're learning is when you're in a zone, when you're happy, when you're content, when you're excited. That's when we learn. That's when our dopamines are going up. That's when our brain is working. That's when everything's kind of just ready to go. So when your kids are mad or kids upset or kids angry, or if you're angry, that's not when you talk.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
You say things that you don't want to say.
No.
Angry.
No, about the 7 minutes, David. We're going to start question and answer. So 7 minutes, inshallah.
Yeah, come up with your questions while I'm online because I really want to know.
Yeah. Actually, also one of the things, a lot of curriculum now, they change the curriculum. Every year they change the curriculum.
Every year they change it. They update it.
Now one of the curriculum actually there's nothing called, we're not going to politics. I mean, no, but now they put the 7 colors in the curriculum now. In California started, and in New York, and something like 5 states start with the colors.
Again, so what you?
But not in Florida.
Yeah, because we have.
I don't know Ohio and the Florida there. Yeah,
because see, what happens is, they're trying to play to the audiences.
Yes.
Right. And I think I'm hoping that if there's any young people on here, to understand that all this stuff is just like a distraction.
Indeed.
Yeah. Right. Because if you're busy learning and confused about this, the other people that know what they're doing is going up and moving up and taking everything.
Yeah.
So what I always tell the kids is keep your focus on what you need to learn, the important stuff, right? And alhamdulillah, I think now all the schools in America, they have technical schools, right? And I know a lot of my Arabian people are gonna yell at me about this, but I always tell the kids, it's not just about doctor or pharmacy. It's not just doctor or pharmacy.
Of course.
I know brothers who went into electrical and mashallah making money, starting businesses. I said, so if you focus on that and you focus on your deen, Because at the end of the day, I tell people, like, you can make all the money you want, but you have no deen inside of you. What are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
Right? I know people right now who make a lot of money, mashallah, but they're miserable,
Yes, I agree with you.
right?
I
And
agree.
so they're miserable. Why? Because their kids are falling into this trap. They're falling into the flags. They're falling into the curriculums of what they're learning. And why? Because the parents are so busy trying to make money
Yeah, and
that they
there is-
forget that they got to talk to the kids.
that is, yeah, there's a lot.
So we're chasing the dollar
And you do
and we're chasing the dunya
for your kids.
to give to your kids.
Yeah.
That when you go and you die, the kids are left with thousands of dollars, mashallah, but they don't know what to do with it. And they don't know how to act. So all
Yeah.
that work you did all your years to provide for your kids, you haven't had a sit down or a dinner or a talk with your kids in how many years?
Brother and sister, there's very serious problem here. We have to wake up. We have to save our kids from, and especially in public school. We have to be in the tub of everything in the school.
And I get it. It's hard.
I know.
It's
It's hard.
intense. And I always say when we want to save the kids, we want to help the kids, we want to help our youth, we want to help our teenagers, but we got to help our
We
parents.
struggle for what? For the dunya, but for pleasing Allah.
Yeah.
Very important, brother and sister. With all my respect, it's very, very important for the parents. The parents again to understand the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we understand the meaning of Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Malik, Al-Qudus, the names attributes is very important to instill that inside the heart of your kids. That, believe it or not, the most beautiful thing for the kids understand that. But also, me myself, for example, I can't teach the kids the name attributes the way, because I have knowledge. But when it's about to understand the mentality of the kids, as Ali radiallahu anhu قال, it's very important. Ali said, خاطب الناس على قدر عقولهم. Speak to the people according to their mentality, their mentality. Come to their levels to understand their mind.
And you say that, and how many years ago was that said?
See, years.
And that's now in these psychology books. Till now, that's still in psychology books.
That's Ali radiallahu anhu,
Mhm.
the cousin of Rasulullah and the wife of the husband of Fatima radiallahu anha, he said that. Speak to the people according to their mentality.
And it's exactly what our books say in psychology.
Subhanallah.
Till now, from back then till now, they're still saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Talk to them at their age group, at their mentality, at their mindset.
And very, very important, all my respect, brother and sister, before the question, I know, sorry, there's 2 minutes left. Very important, when the kids speak, or husband and wife speak, you cut the conversation, you lose the battle. It's a war between couple. Both of them, they speak, you lose exactly the value of understand. We have to listen, concentrate, and then reply back, not together.
Well, we could have a whole topic on couples
Yeah.
counseling and couples therapy. And
We have, alhamdulillah, we have 45 minutes so far. Now, Sister Layla online, and also I know on Facebook and Twitter, whatever social media, I know a lot. Any question, inshallah, Sister Layla?
Yes, we have one here from a brother. He says, what do you do if you work like he does for a Muslim-owned company and they're hiring transgenders and LGBTQ?
again, you can't. Okay, see that, and that's they're trying to fit in and they're trying to get their quotas, and they have to meet certain things. Again, we can't control what other Muslims do, right? Unfortunately, we do have a lot of Muslims who fall into the I want to get this and I want to get that. In order for me to get this, I got to do that that stuff, and they kind of sell themselves a little bit for the money or for their businesses. Honestly, we can't do anything about that. What can we do? Because at the end of the day, we can't control what other people do. We can control what we do. We can control our actions. We can control how we feel. We can control our emotions. But we cannot control and I'm not going to tell you to quit your job, because I don't know what job it is. I'm not going to tell you to leave and go find a better one. Listen, alhamdulillah, we have people who have good jobs, but they're always looking for better. Right? They're always looking for more. They're always out there. But what are you going to do about that?
In fact, I work on a company, non-Muslim country, company. I work as a geologist and engineer. Engineering, I work with the company. And the male, the couple is male and male got married, and female got married. I don't know. And believe it or not, it's the best people work in the company. The best. Plus, the most honest work. When you have a job, it's perfect. And not only that, they respect everyone. And even our husband, male and husband and wife, they consider themselves, but in front of the people, don't see anything, not inviting the others to come. But we know they are so and so. My point, they can work with you, no problem with that. But also at the same time, we have to be careful. Apply that. Don't forget that sickness. That sickness come to you, or to the people around you, not to you, the people around you. You have to be careful with that.
The one biggest thing is like they want you to ask questions, just like how we want them.
Yeah.
How we want people to ask us Islamic questions. They want you to ask questions.
Yes.
And my biggest thing is don't ask any questions. You just go, you're doing your job, and you go home.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, I get it. Like I said, we live in a society where we can't control what's happening on the outside. We can only control what we can control. Right.
But some people, by the way, in the conference, some people, they intention to make money, to make you in trouble, to make money.
Yeah. And that's
You
why
have to be careful.
and that's why I always say, like, don't speak,
Yeah.
don't say nothing. Because you do have to make your money. You do have to put. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we got to pay our bills, right? You have to pay your bills, but to a limit. You limit yourself. Don't ask questions. Do your job and get out.
Yeah.
And if there is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens, we just talked about this the other day with my family, where it's kind of like we think a door closes, right? And we get aggravated, we get mad. Oh my God, we lost a worker, we lost this, we lost that. And then subhanAllah, 2 weeks later, another door opens and it's better. It got better. And we said, oh, subhanAllah, we were so upset. But then we said, oh, Allah, it's up to God. Let God handle it.
That hadith Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Beautiful hadith in Bukhari and Muslim. قال من ترك شيء لله عوضه الله خيرا منه. Whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will multiply this more for the sake of Allah.
See, and I've seen that firsthand. And it was awesome. It was great. It's a good feeling because at that moment, you're upset.
Yes.
At that moment, you're angry. You're like, okay, my whole schedule changed, or now I got to do this, or now I got to do that. And then, you kind of just like, what Allah, man? Let me just make some dua. Let me see what's going on.
Exactly.
And then subhanAllah, another thing happens.
Yes.
And then it's like, whoa, okay, now I see.
I have a lot of people I know it's happened to them, and Allah I even multiply more and more on them. Any more questions, Sister Layla?
This is all I have here. What about you guys in Zoom? And there's a comment from another sister from Rumble. She said, it seems to me that the point you were making is it falls upon us parents to make sure that we're doing our job, educating our children of the basics. I think she's typing Aqidah, a basic Aqidah. And then that's all we can do. She said, because Allah does say that the earth is a fitna.
Fitna. Yes.
Fitna,
Fitna. Try, tribulation, yes.
It's a test.
Something very important, Hadith Rasul. Give me attention to this Hadith. Prophet Muhammad told us. He said the most people hardship and calamity, the prophets. Then al-amthal fal-amthal, less and less. The end of the Hadith, give me attention. على قدر دينك تبتلى. According to your deen, your iman, you believe, you have hardship and calamity. Why? We have temporary, this life, we are
Temper.
temporary, very short, a drop of water in the ocean, drop of water, and that's our dunya.
Absolutely.
Any more questions, brother and sister? We have 10 minutes, alhamdulillah.
Let me just say about that comment, because I know she said, you know, I'm the whole point of it is the parents have to do more and do whatever. You got to remember that the kids are in school for how many hours?
Yes.
8 hours. The kids come home and you got to feed them, let them do their homework, make sure they pray their salahs, and then go take showers and go to bed. So you probably get about 3 to 4 hours with your kids after school. Your school, 3 to 4 hours after that, and then the kids are sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're sleeping from the time they go to sleep, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever time, 10 o'clock, until the time to go to school. So you have another 30 minutes to get them ready for school after they wake up and get them out the door and to go to school. So our time with our kids during the week is very limited.
Yes, agree.
Unless it's even more limited, even if your kids go to sports, you have extracurricular activities. If they're doing something else, they have clubs. So you're lessening the time you have with your kids. So the time that you're gonna have your kids, that's the time you really want to make sure that you're making the most out of it. The weekends, right?
Oh yeah.
You have the weekends, but it's kind of lost sometimes. They have soccer games on a Saturday, or they have to do something on the weekend, or you have to work on the weekends, because people do work on the weekends. I work on the weekends sometimes. So your time with our kids is very limited compared to the time that the school has our kids, right? And it's that
Imagine all day.
exactly all day. So there are 8 hours with teachers, with students, even in Islamic schools. I'm sorry, but you know,
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Islamic schools, the same
Doesn't
thing.
matter. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. American school, Islamic school, all the kids don't have parents who tell their kids, "Oh, you can't watch YouTube right now." You go to a school, an Islamic school, and you hear these kids singing these songs. Why are you singing these songs? These are bad songs. Oh, I heard it on TikTok. I heard it on. Well, yeah, but my kid doesn't listen to this. But now my kid heard it because my kid heard another kid saying it.
Oh yeah, imitating each other. Yes.
Imitating each other, mimicking each other. Oh, you know, and so it's subhanAllah, we have so limited time with our kids that the time that you have, you got to make sure that you're capitalizing on that time and taking advantage of it. Alhamdulillah.
And brother Ibrahim Muhammad, actually, by the way, he came last Tuesday. He didn't eat anything in the house, and my wife told me, "Yeah, but he's healthy."
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
So it's good actually. Let the kids eat, but not at night time.
Yeah, I don't eat at night,
Yeah.
and that's also because my wife bullies me and says that I'm fat. So I have to make sure she stops bullying me. Alhamdulillah.
All right, any more questions, Sister Laila?
No, that's all I have. Anybody?
I have one. It's kind of question and statement.
Statement first.
Okay. I was saying, as a grandparent, I feel a responsibility to my grandchildren to pull them in as well. Because I have one grandchild that likes to come over because I cook. I have another one that just comes by to check on my car. And during that time, I try to build up some kind of relationship with them, talking about Allah and things like that. So what I was thinking is that as grandparents, is that should be a responsibility for us as well. At least I think so. That it should be a responsibility for us as well to help our children who are parents, you know, rear their children.
Now, hold on. I have a question first. Tell your kids, the grandkids, you're happy to have a grandkids in the house.
Alhamdulillah.
Continue.
Do I have grandchildren in the house?
Yes.
I have grandchildren that live. I have great grandchildren that live next door to me, but I don't have any grandchildren home.
MashaAllah.
Mashallah. So I will say, go back to the beginning of the conversation where I said it takes the community,
Yes.
right? And believe it or not, grandparents hold a lot of power with these grandkids, and that's because you're their escape from their parents,
Oh.
right? And from the outside, and they feel comfortable talking to you. You know, you're lucky because you don't have to be the disciplinary one, right? You're not disciplining them. That's the parent's job. So you can be the friend, the grandparent, and that's when you can kind of have a better sit down and a better line of communication with those kids. Believe it or not, grandparents hold a lot of power.
Of course.
A lot of power. You can either spoil the heck out of these kids, because I know a lot of grandkids or grandparents who will spoil these grandkids. Oh, I don't have to take care of them. I just spoil them and then send them back to their mom and dad. Well, then now you're making the mom and dad have to work double time
Oh,
to teach the kids how to be good kids, how to appreciate stuff. Because ask yourself, how many times do you get your kids stuff and they play with the toy for 10 seconds and then they throw it down?
well, yeah, a lot.
Because they have so many
A
toys,
lot. Yeah.
and have so much things, because everybody keeps buying. They don't appreciate the stuff that they have. So the grandparent, I mean, I think that the power of the grandparent,
I got a very important point.
yeah, the power of the
Yeah.
grandparent is really, really strong. And I always tell the grandparents, if you have grandparents, and come to that, I think, you know, if these kids are lucky enough to have grandparents still alive, take advantage of it.
Yes.
Teach them, talk
Yeah.
to them,
Agreed.
show that love, man.
Yeah.
Show that love.
Some people actually, parents, by the way, they never tell their kids, I love you. Many.
And you know what? That's something that a lot of people weren't born with, right? They weren't raised around I love you.
Exactly.
We show love. Look, you have a roof over your head. Show love. That means I love you. Really, you know, that's a responsibility. And that's goes to, again, cultural things. You know, culture takes over a lot of times with a lot of the
Culture. You're right with that.
it takes over. And that's a whole different topic between culture
Yeah.
and religion. And
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Any more questions? Inshallah, 3 minutes left. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. Yeah.
I was really what you were saying about the relationship between the grandmothers and the parents. The grandparents can play a very positive role in not just teaching, but setting examples, setting the right examples for them, because children are very watchful. You
absolutely.
think they're not.
Agree with you.
Oh,
100%.
Kids watch everything we do. And I can tell you personal stories about, you know, my daughter is just like me. And I always have to watch myself, right, around what we're saying, what we're doing. And grandparents, believe it or not, they watch you. They
Yeah.
listen to how you talk to their parents, right? How many times?
Oh, yeah.
So, but the thing is, how many times have you heard a kid say, I'm going to go tell grandma on you,
Yeah.
to their moms and dads? Because they know I can go talk to grandma and grandma's going to yell at you.
Mm.
Right. So and listen, we joke, we laugh. I don't take two things too much seriously, because at the end of the day, I feel like life or the world is already serious enough as it is. But believe it or not, you're right. Grandparents hold a lot of control and a lot of power.
Yes.
The way you talk to your parents, your kids, your grandkids are watching.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
And grandma told you this, and grandpa told you
Yeah.
that. Didn't grandma just say this to you? And they mimic.
I wish I have a grandma. I never see my grandma.
Yeah. Same.
All right, inshallah, brother and sister. Inshallah, prepare yourself. Inshallah, next Tuesday, bi'idhnillah, on time, 9 o'clock also. And as I mentioned last week, it's very, very important for our kids to watch. It's not now, because that's TV maybe now, at least it is on Sunnah Faraz and our website. Listen to it again and again, discuss with your kids.
Alhamdulillah, I hate to cut in, but I like to say this. Keep in mind, parents, grandparents, your children will not stay children forever. They will grow up and be adults. And
Yep.
they will remember every single solitary thing that they have been through with you and with others. So you
Indeed.
really have to be careful. Treat them as human beings. Remember that. They do belong to Allah. They don't belong to you. And they don't forget anything. Subhanallah.
Indeed, indeed.
Absolutely.
May Allah guide our kids, Ya Rab.
I mean,
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك اللهم يا رب السماوات والأرض اهد لنا أولادنا يا رب اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت بارك لنا فيمن أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت اللهم قنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت واهد لنا أولادنا وأزواجنا يا رب آمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته and all over the world إن شاء الله مع السلامة